Hello, a very good morning. Welcome along to Ireland AM on Virgin Media 1.
It is lovely to have you with us. It's Tuesday, the 17th of September, and here's some of what we've got coming up on the show today.
Now, with the Dáil resuming and a general election looming, we explore the key themes of the political party think-ins.
Absolutely.
Very shortly.
Also coming up, RTE, they report a deficit and vacancy rate at new high in the west. So RTE, they've got this deficit of 1.9 million, and then we're going to also be talking about in the west of Ireland, in towns and villages, there's a really high vacancy rate. We're going to be discussing all the latest news
all
at
across
7:35.
The country, that is. Alan, what else have we got this morning?
Well, Tommy, the Olympics for vocational skills. Did you ever hear about them? Well, you're going to, because we're going to meet some talk about the WorldSkills Championships at 7:45 this morning. Now, all week, our very own Deric is doing his best adventure yet to see firsthand how Ireland AM has impacted our viewers. And this morning, Deric's 25th birthday road trip has taken him to the rebel county in Mallow in Cork. Good morning to you, Deric. How are you? Oh, here he is. He's arriving.
Good morning, good morning.
Look at our
Check
Ireland
out the brand new whip, guys. Anyway, ahead of our trip to Ratheniska in County Laois tomorrow for the ploughing, we've landed down here in Mallow in County Cork. Now, it is a dry and settled start. You'll be glad to hear out there today. Some really nice sunshine. In fact, warming up pretty nicely in terms of those valleys. So, a pretty decent day in store. Anyway, guys, our birthday celebrations continue on the road. That's why we've landed here in the rebel county. Mallow in North Cork is where we're at. We've got Springfort Hall Hotel just over our shoulder. Coming up later on, we're going to be finding out the impact Ireland AM has on the viewers, not only here in Cork, but of course right around the country. And check out the brand new wheel, the AM Mobile. Doesn't it look fantastic, guys?
Very cool, very cool. Oh, they're inside as
Very
well. We've got great shots with as well.
As if we couldn't spot him before. When you see him on the road today, give him an old wave.
Absolutely. Deric and the
Salute.
AM Mobile. He's going to be driving goodness knows where by tomorrow. So yeah, if you give him a shout, it'd be great. He'd love that.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media 1.
Gurmila, you're broadcasting live here from Mallow in Cork, where viewers can enjoy superfast full fibre broadband at 99% reliability, courtesy of Virgin Media here in Cork. Coming up later on this morning, we're going to be talking to some of the people here in North Cork and Mallow itself, talking about the impact that Ireland AM has had in not only here in Cork, but right around the country. So that's all coming your way live at 8:35, so do stay with us for that. Now, Oshimon with us at cameras this morning, so let's take an opening look at how it's shaping up weather-wise for the day ahead, and you'll be glad to hear it's a dry and settled start out there this morning. Some patchy mist and some overnight fog trailing around, but certainly it will brighten up now over the next half hour or so in those slight southerly or southeasterly breezes. Now pushing our way through the day, take a look at the map, because it's a beautiful day here in North Cork, and in fact that sunshine extending across many areas out there today. A little bit cloudy to parts of the west, up around the northwest once again, where we could see the odd passing shower, but as we're holding pretty decent and in fact pretty steady, quite a warm day in store in terms of those valleys, with top temps of around 17 to 21. We could even see 22 degrees away from eastern and southern coast. So once again, best out west. Across into time, very similar to what we've seen last night. We'll hold many dry and settled patchy mists. A little bit of fog trailing around across inland and sheltered areas as well. And holding pretty humid in terms of those valleys, with overnight lows there back to around 12 to 15 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up here in a dry and settled Mallow in North Cork at the moment. Let me be over shocked. Gadishin Slán.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media 1.
Did you see how much sunshine there? Unbelievable.
One of the girls
Enjoy
went
the good
to the
weather.
beach yesterday, so if you're going to do that, anyone pulling a sickie today for that, wouldn't they? Some people who can't pull sickies, they're going back to the Dáil tomorrow. They've got to be ready to go. We're going to be discussing the key takeaways from the political party think-ins that were happening yesterday, and of course we'll have all of your latest news.
Yes, we'll have that after the short break.
Welcome back. Now it's time for a political roundup. Oh, it was all happening yesterday. They were all in hotels. Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil and the Green Party had their party thinking yesterday ahead of the return to the Dáil tomorrow.
They're all in hotels.
All
They're
in
meant to be back to work.
hotels. Sure, you
Here
couldn't get a
to
room in the
unpack
hotel.
the strategies and potential policies that will shape the party's agenda is Hugh O'Connell and Sinead O'Connell. Good morning.
Morning.
To
Morning.
you both. OK, so Hugh, let's get stuck into this. Key themes from the three parties. What were they discussing in these hotels?
Yesterday we had Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil and the Greens gathering in separate hotels around Dublin for their think-ins. So this is an opportunity to strategise and plot their plans for the next few months ahead of the return of the Dáil tomorrow. And for Sinn Féin, they're talking about kind of the fact they're going to run 70 candidates in the general election, for example. They're talking about using €1 billion of the Apple money for investment in communities, I think, and community projects. The Greens are talking about transport, of course, and we had their Deputy Leader, Roisin Garvey, talking about these plans the Greens want to introduce to free public transport, to extend it to children under 9. And she's linking the obesity crisis among children. I think a quarter of children are obese. With the fact that they're being driven to school when they could walk.
This is one of
in urban areas.
the biggest
This is
sort
real
of talking points that's come out from Roisin Garvey. She says that the car is king on the roads. She, as a rural person, has to rely on her car, but she believes in urban areas we have to give more space to footpaths and to cycling lanes because they're causing children to become overweight.
And in fairness, she's not putting the blame on parents, because you see that headline, you're like, oh, eye roll. But she actually was saying it's because a lot of the times parents have no choice because there's inadequate footpath or just a difficult terrain, even in urban areas, to get to the creche or to get to the school. And this is borne out, like her stuff is borne out in statistics that a lot of the urban drives that are done are very, very short. They're less than 2 kilometres. So she's saying, like, they're the ones. So, you know, if you get the kids on for free, it's an incentive. But also you just need to fix some of that stuff so that people don't feel they have to use the car if there's an unsuitable crossing, for instance.
I mean,
So was she making a point, or is she actually, what is she asking to do?
Yeah, she's looking for this. So the Greens in the budget are looking for this idea of expanding free transport to under 9s.
Get onto buses as opposed to the parents driving them.
Exactly, yeah, but also things like wider footpaths, more pedestrian crossings, just making the whole kind of urban space a lot safer for people to walk and for people to get to school every morning.
Which is something that actually seems admirable, but if anyone who lives in an urban area, they realise that people don't even pay attention to traffic lights. And, like, they do not pay attention. If you're a pedestrian, like,
but
red
I mean,
means go.
It is really noticeable in urban areas. I mean, I live in a village, and, you know, it's really noticeable when the schools are on and when they're not, when they're off, because the traffic is insane, you know.
Absolutely, I know. I think of it myself as well. What about the coalition between Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil and Green Party? Are they managing kind of the internal relations? Like, because they obviously all want different things.
Well, they're coming to an end now. So whether it's November or it's next year, whenever we have an election, they're in this balance now where they have to work together, but they also have to start making themselves look very different from each other. That's particularly difficult for Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, obviously. But the Green Party in particular, like, they are in trouble with a large cohort of the population and of the voting population. So they're trying to...
poll on Sunday, 1% is what it looks like they had.
Yeah, well, that was the Business Post, actually.
Business Post, oh, sorry. The Business Post, but looking at 1%. So they've got this uphill battle.
Yeah, so they have a battle, but they also have to try and take credit for some of the things that they feel like that they have done in this term. So Roderick O'Gorman, you could tell during, like, the last week, has been trying to set out his stall, being like, look, there are some policies that we have got in that Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil are now taking credit for. There are good ideas that we have had that we want to put forward that aren't maybe just environmental issues or anti-farming issues. They're trying to put forward things that are kind of more common sense and also that people will feel in their pocket.
Yeah, I mean, Roderick O'Gorman did do an interview with me in the Sunday Times at the weekend, and he was quite assertive, and he was quite... I would, like, it was unusual from Roderick O'Gorman. I think he's kind of thought as a sort of mild-mannered, calm individual. But it was quite striking how assertive he was about. He believes Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael that you know, a lot of what they do, or some of what they do, is about political survival more so than about good policy making and good government. And he also pointed out that when Fine Gael were being supported in government by Fianna Fáil under confidence and supply, so the last government before this one, that nothing was really done. And so it takes a party like the Green Party to be in government to get these two parties to do stuff that's really important, but also really kind of radical. And when you think about it, some of the things that have come in over the last few years that have changed our everyday lives, the deposit return scheme, for example, we're all kind of getting used to that now. But also things like cheaper public transport, more investment in public transport, but also this kind of switch to greener energy, all these kind of things is because the Green Party are in government.
Like, it is kind of surprising when you think about it that we don't have free transport for under 9s. Like, if you see little small kids get on a bus, you kind of would presume, like in most European cities,
the story,
that it kind of is common sense in a lot of ways.
Because obviously we talked about Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael trying to differentiate each other, but let's talk with potentially, there is rumours of a general election coming in November, but maybe you're disputing that. Sinn Féin, how did they turn the tide?
Well, I think anything is possible in politics, and I think that we only have to look to 4 years ago where Sinn Féin had very bad local elections and European elections, and then within a few months they had an incredible general election where they got the biggest share of the vote, the most number of votes, the biggest number of votes, excuse me, I think, and nearly the biggest number of seats, and were surprised everyone. And so that's always possible. I think it's less likely this time that they will do that. But I think that what they're doing in recent weeks is they're creating a choice for voters. They're basically saying, you know, this is what we will do. And it's very different from what the government will do, particularly in areas like housing, for example. Their approach in terms of greater state intervention in the housing market is quite different from what the government is proposing. And they've published this very detailed, hundreds plus page housing plan. Last week, they launched a childcare policy that, you know, whatever about its merits, it's very easily understood. €10 per child per day childcare. And that is something I think we're going to see a lot more of in the weeks ahead. Policy, so as that when they're on the doors in the run-up to the next election and during that campaign, they can offer these policies
and
to
it'll
voters.
just take a story for people to want that kind of major change. So if there's that kind of spark of anger or something that has happened in housing or in something that they're seen as being particularly competent in, that's what would turn the tide. But it's something that they can't really control. Like they've seen they couldn't control the narrative around something like immigration. That has kind of died down now.
But don't forget as well, the last election campaign, two things happened before the election. The commemoration for the Royal Irish Constabulary, there was huge blowback on the government for that at the time. And then the campaign became dominated by the pension age and what the pension age should be. And Sinn Féin had a very clear policy on that. Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael didn't. So campaigns matter and they can change the course of the election.
The thing with all of these things, I suppose, is, you know, we've seen Mary Lou, she's been out there. I had a general election candidate at my door last night. Like, it is starting to ramp up. But when it comes to Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, they're doing very well in the polls. What seems to have come out from their thinking, Fianna Fáil's, is that we're different. We've done loads of things. We've taken on the really hard briefs, housing. We've taken on health. And they seem to be like, hi, we're here too. We're not one party, is what they're trying to throw out there.
Yeah, they have a difficult question. They had this difficult question 4 years ago. They've had this difficult question for most of this decade of their identity. Who are they? Are they a throwback to the past? Micheál Martin is still very much required to be the leader. There's kind of no one coming up, particularly now with Michael McGrath gone to Europe. So there is a question. There's a Dublin question for them. So I think some of it seems to be there's a strategy there to get people who are much more known. So we have, the Gráinne Seogas, the Alison Cummins.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. That seems to be a bit of a strategy in itself. At least they're like a Fianna Fáil of the past, that people know their faces, know their families. So there is a strategy there of sorts, but it's not the same as really differentiating themselves on a policy basis.
And Micheál Martin sticking to his guns, talking about the general election is going to be in February. Listen, Hugh O'Connell from the Sunday Times and Sinead O'Carroll from the Journal. You're going to hang around. We're going to go through the other stories making the papers at the minute.
Yes, because up next, RT have revealed a deficit of 1.9 million for 2023.
And in a year of record road deaths, the Gardaí have unveiled a new approach to road policing. Stay with us.
Now it's time to take a look at this morning's papers. We'll start with the Irish Times. The headline there: firms that got UHL deals were staff-owned. Two companies, which received more than 1.5 million between them in contracts awarded by the University Hospital Limerick without a competitive procurement process, were owned or part-owned by employees at the facility.
Rate of empty shops in our towns reaches a record high. The scale of dereliction across the country has been laid bare, with commercial vacancy rates as high as 1 in 3 units in the worst hit areas. As closures of traditional pubs and shops continue to close in small towns, that's the front of the Irish Independent.
The Examiner's top story is cost of living, main concern for rural voters. Fewer than half of rural voters see immigration as a deciding factor in the way they'll vote in the next general election, with health, housing and the cost of living all considered more important.
The Mayor goes with €1,000 budget boost vow. The Finance Minister is promising workers a €1,000 boost when he delivers budget in 2025 in 2 weeks.
The Star leads with the same story, saying Jack's Grand Designs Finance Minister Jack Chambers is promising workers a €1,000 boost in budget 2025, 2 weeks from today.
The Sun's headline is sickening. The full scale of the depravity of disgraced Hugh Edwards emerged yesterday.
The Herald's front page, man arrested for role in drug dealer murder. The suspect, who is from Dublin's North Inner City, was arrested yesterday and is the first arrest in the Berkeley murder investigation. He is not believed to be the gunman in the case.
And the top story of the Daily Mail, losses at RTE tripled to €9.1 million. The deficit for 2023 is over 3 times higher than the €2.8 million notched up the year before, and the worst since the €13 million recorded in 2018. With RTE warning costs are on course to rise again this year, as it is criticising the TV licence model.
Hugh O'Connell and Sinead O'Carroll have stayed with us to bring us more on that story. Hello. Sinead, let's talk about this €9.1 million deficit. Where does it come from?
Yes, this is 2023, so we knew this was going to be an extremely bad year for RTE. This was the year that all the scandals emerged, and that was halfway through the year, so we would have known that the licence fee took a hit, but also we've seen that some sponsorship took a hit as well. We don't know if that's before or after the scandals, but you know, not as many shows that were sponsored the year before were sponsored in 2023. So you've overall kind of, there's no surprise here, but there is also just eye-watering figures. 9.1 million deficit, so not as high as that 13 million in 2018, but still the kind of money that you're kind of looking, going, how are we going to turn this ship around?
Well, the government bailout is definitely going to help them, Hugh.
Massively, yeah. Lucky them, eh?
Yeah.
And that's not just for this year. It's next year, and I think the year after that as well. So that will help. And restoring public. I mean, I think Terence O'Rourke, the chair, says this in his message that with the annual report, that it's about RTE won't survive unless it restores the trust of the public that was so damaged across 2023. I mean, it really was RTE's worst year probably in its history. So hopefully it'll get better this year.
It is, but it's gotten this €15 million bailout. But you would be thinking, when something like this has happened and this huge scandal, and people are looking at, staffing costs, what it is everyone's doing, and operating costs increased by 9.3 million, Sinead.
Yeah, so some of that was special events, so things like the US presidential visit, Joe Biden was there, the Women's World Cup, the Rugby World Cup.
0.7 million, though, 700,000 in comparison to 9.3 million.
And then there was a pay-related agreement, so the staff costs went up. So there are line items that explain some of this, but there's also, just like I said, there's a big operation there that needs to figure out how it can spend less money and make more money on its own 2 feet. I know there's a lot of criticism of the licence fee structure and how that works, but there's also an organisation that needs to figure out how to do things a bit more nimbly.
Absolutely. Listen, we'll move on to our next story. Let us know what you think about that. 0896 111 111. So we're obviously seeing record road deaths, frightening figures on the roads, and the guards are now obviously trying to do something different. And this is about an unmarked lorry.
Yeah, so this is an unmarked lorry. This is an idea that the Gardaí got from police in Belgium, that you send an unmarked lorry out and you have a spotter sitting in the passenger seat, and he basically, or she, observes cars from a higher level. So you can see motorists doing things like putting the phone between their legs to text, or in some instances watch football matches, it seems.
Or not even have their seatbelt on.
Or not even have their seatbelt on. These kind of things that Gardaí, when they're kind of at car level, couldn't, if they can't see it, they can't pull the
Well,
motorist over.
yeah, exactly. Your phone is down lower than the window.
Exactly. So when they're at a higher level, they can see in and they can see motorists who are potentially carrying out road offences. And what's interesting is that they've only, I think, had 3 or 4 of these operations so far where this truck has gone out on a particular shift, and they've had up to 40 incidents per shift of motorists committing offences and being hauled over.
Does the lorry pull them in?
No, they communicate with the...
I was going to say.
Some lorry in a high picture.
It's got a siren on it, doesn't
Like
it?
Knight Rider.
It has
It does, and
lights.
so they will alert the motorist to, like, we're on your case here. So usually by the time a normal Garda car comes along, which is what happens is they radio the normal Garda car, the Garda car comes along and the motorist is consigned to their...
It's good thinking. It's taking
fate.
a leaf out of another country's book that is obviously working.
Absolutely, yeah. And look, I mean, I think it's something it's called Operation Umper, and I think it's more of a pilot almost so far. But I think you're going to see a lot more of this now, given what it appears anyway from the reports today is the relative success of it.
We have been calling for something to be done. Like when you're talking about those bad figures, like last year was the worst, 180 something deaths, and this year we're already at 131. Like it has improved if you're looking at numbers, but each number is one too many, and like people will know just from listening to the news and watching the news, there's just too many fatalities. So it sometimes feels like, oh, they're nitpicking, like a seatbelt not being off, but what they're trying to get at here is behaviours that do cause fatalities. Seatbelts not being on, mobile phones being used, erratic driving. So any bad driver behaviour that can lead to a crash. Like one of the people they pulled over recently was someone who was already on 9 penalty points. So he was pulled over for a seatbelt being off, which is probably putting himself in danger more than anybody else. But 9 penalty points, and so more than likely he's off the road now.
Which is just a small behaviour. Like it's a very simple thing. Like that's just a small thing. Did you say someone was caught watching a football match?
That seems to be from one of the reports today that in some instances people are watching football matches, or not football, sport.
Sport.
Yes. Yeah.
They just have on their screen.
Not necessarily.
They'll be able to watch clips. But
or live matches.
It just goes to show that people exactly are spending huge amounts of time in the car and are obviously not. Think that they can get away with it.
But other things like doing their makeup, or there was another example, I can't remember what it was, but like doing something that you really shouldn't be doing when you're driving.
But it will be the thing when there is a technology that shows you where the speed vans are. Like if you're using a certain app to give you directions, and they are going to cut.
But at least you are safe for that period of time. And you might have it in your head for the entire journey because you know that something might catch you. Because Drew Harris thinks that technology is going to make the roads better, but we do need to use the presence of technology, but also the presence of guards. So I think it's going to have to be a mix until we kind of get that technology that works, that people actually change their behaviours.
Nice to see the guards thinking outside the box, and hopefully it does exactly make people behave themselves that little bit more on the roads as well. Let us know what you think. 0896 111 111. Get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. That's Sinead O'Carroll from the Journal.ie and Hugh O'Connell, Sunday Times political editor.
Thank you both so much for being here. Thank you. Now, next, our guests have just returned from the WorldSkills competition in Lyon. We're going to find out what the WorldSkills Championship is and how Team Ireland got on.
And if you want to see me winning a competition of peeling potatoes, that's coming up after this short break. See you
Seriously.
shortly.
Welcome back. Now, we had the Sport Olympics, the Paralympics, but this weekend we had the Skill Olympics, which saw representatives from all over the world take part in the WorldSkills competition. This happened in Lyon in France, and they were showcasing their talents.
We hadn't heard about it yesterday. We were going, what is it? Well, we're joined now by some of the members from Team Ireland. Please welcome team leader Tara O'Halloran-Cronin, electrical installations competitor Sean McLaughlin, and Alana Moffat. Good morning to you.
Good morning. So, hello.
Tara, let's start with you. As we were saying, we were in the office yesterday and we were going, what are these? And how did Ireland get involved in it?
Well, Ireland has a really strong relationship with skills training, and these fine ambassadors represented us really well in the Skills Olympics. Over 70 different countries globally, 250,000 visitors, a range of skills. And we came home with 5 medallions.
What sort of skills? What is it?
Oh, so we have digital construction, we have IT, creative arts and fashion, electrical installations, cookery, restaurant services. Absolutely.
So is this like where you go to something like in the RDS and there's stands and people are doing stuff?
Yes.
And then are there judges walking around? Or
100. Yes.
And are there stages where you go and actually compete against each other?
Yes, and it's to time. So we had 4 days of really strong testing. You have other countries examining Sean and Alana and the rest of our 17-strong team. We get there at 8 o'clock in the morning. We get there home late at night, and they have specific test projects. And the wonderful thing about this is you can observe how other countries perform their skill and bring this wonderful collaborative experience back to our country and feed it back into our industry.
And to qualify for this, is it something that you take part in, like through college?
Yeah, so what we do is WorldSkills Ireland, and we have a wonderful event next week. We've booked out the RDS, we work with Higher Options, industry partners, and what we do is we have a skills test similar from the 25th to the 27th, a micro version of the WorldSkills. And the national champions then will go forward to represent the next Worlds.
To the next year. OK,
Yes.
so Sean, what did you do? And you've medals there. What did you win the medals for?
The first one, well, I actually competed in the belt and road competition.
In the what?
In the belt and road. It's a Chinese competition. They run every 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
Just their own version of the WorldSkills.
Their own version.
Oh, OK.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
But we went over there. There was 8 of us travelled.
We did.
Tara was with me and 2 other competitors. And I managed to come third in that, so...
And what did you do? What were you doing?
Consists of a test project, as Tara said. We get a drawing and all the materials, and we have to make this job function as per the drawing says.
What do you do in college?
I'm qualified electrician.
Qualified electrician. So you did electrical installations just in Lyon at the WorldSkills Championship, and you received a medallion of excellence.
That's not there, yeah.
There you go, right there. That's what we're looking at there. Can I have an old gawk at it? So tell us what you had to do in the competition.
The competition consists of a kind of mock project of maybe something similar to the studio with lights, sockets, and then we had a motor series as well. So
you have to. You're given a few walls, and it's like this is all. Given a few walls. I'm just saying. Listen.
Put the plugs in there. Set it up.
I'm hoping to need an electrician someday. I want to see what Sean can do. So you're given a few walls, and there's all this equipment, and it's like light the place, rig it, get it all set up as though it was a home.
Exactly. You have to make it work as they want it, as they say.
Over how many days?
4. So 22 hours in total is what you have.
And is it like are you awarded it on time
It's both.
On your skill and how you do
to
it?
get your quality of work and function is the main 2 things.
Are you the best electrician in Ireland now, Sean?
I'd have to give that to my father.
Okay. I was going to say your price is going up. You're going around with you'll call in with your medal on you.
That's so cool. Yeah. Like you're competing against 70 other countries.
Yeah, 34 in my category.
34 in your category.
Category.
Alana, there she is. She's waiting. She's like, what did you do at the WorldSkills?
I was in Kukri, so I had 4 days as well. So my test project varied. First day was fine dining. So then the second day was cold kitchen, which is like cakes, breads, duck pate, and the third day was casual dining, so kind of like a bistro.
Yeah.
So you had to make steak, fish, and we had then the restaurant service working with us to serve it. So I cooked it and they'd serve it to guests that came in throughout the day. And then the last day was the skills test. So yeah, 22 hours as well.
And how many countries were taking part in that?
Over 40 in Kukri, so a big section.
Because that's a huge thing then,
yeah,
isn't it?
very much. It was huge, and I came in the top 10 in the world, so I was delighted, yeah.
This
Really?
is unbelievable.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
When there's so many things to go, and I believe was your competition towards the end, so all the Irish team.
Yeah, so I was the last one to finish. So I just looked up and I could see all the Irish flags and them roaring. It was the best atmosphere ever, like.
Lads, it genuinely sounds a bit like the Olympics, and I'm not joking. The way you've described it, I would watch it on the telly.
But it's
Virgin
like,
Media,
it's
get
like
on
you're
it.
cooking. It's like Great British Bake Off or something like
Yeah,
that. Is it
something like
intense
that.
like that? You have your
much.
time limits. You have to deliver.
Yeah, so the first day I had 7 hours and I cooked a starter, a soup, main course and dessert for 4 people.
All from scratch?
Yeah, and so you have to have certain times. So I had to have my soup ready at a certain time, and I was here pushing, and I had about 5 minutes left, and I was looking around me, I was like, will I make it, will I make it? But everything got up in time, so I was delighted.
Tara, this is amazing. Why did this all start?
I suppose really in the 1950s, WorldSkills International became WorldSkills International with small few countries, and it developed over the years. Ireland hosted a competition in the 1950s. Yeah. And I suppose in the last few years, we're in a generation of apprenticeship. We've got over 77 different new apprenticeships coming on board. That's due to double over the next few years. And we have huge investment from the government and industry partners. And it's such a privilege to sit here with some of our champions. And we're going to have more champions to come next week up in the RDS. And it's just absolutely fantastic.
Now, can people apply now for that, or have you got people already for it?
We have people already for it for this year, but there will be another nationals next year. But come along, have a chat with us, come and have a look at the hero stage. Perhaps
so
chat
it's like
with
if you're
Alana.
interested in a career in any of this, it's a great way just to go around and meet people like yourselves. The hero stage. Are the heroes here today?
Oh, I think so. Definitely. We have 17 of them probably watching as well, roaring at home at the guys as usual. But like, even just to come back here, 250,000 people passed and watched these people perform a skills test over 4 days. They were watching them make the soup. They were watching Sean put the electricals
putting his plug in.
So it's absolutely big. And same in the RDS. You know, it is a pressure
you know
test.
what? It's like for something that we were going, what is that yesterday? It's amazing that it's so big. Now, Alana, as you said, we have Tommy here. We have to put him through a little test, a little cookery test.
You two get
so
up.
Tommy's over there.
Yeah,
so
you
Tommy,
two, and you're going
we're going to go over to Tommy.
Alana,
You're going to show.
over.
What are you going to
Tommy
do,
has
Alana, with Tommy?
Show
us what we're going to do.
Come on, Alana, get over here. Where's your medal? Because you're going to be handing it over in a minute.
So what are we doing here? We're going to give Tommy a what?
We're doing a potato peeling competition. Who can peel the most amount of spuds in 60 seconds?
30 seconds. I think we'll only give you 30 seconds.
Yeah, we'll give you... I'm pretty good here.
I think 60 seconds now might be...
You can go into the middle there, Alan. You can judge it.
So,
right, okay.
Now,
is this 30 seconds on the clock?
Is this something that you would have been doing, obviously, in part? Not really.
A wee bit more.
More finesse. More finesse than this. But we've 30. Yeah, we've 30 seconds on the clock. So the time starts now.
Go, right.
Tell me, look at this. Here we go. So, now there's a very different styles here, Tommy. Tommy's a long stroke style, and Alana is...
We felt bad for Tommy.
Alana, I think you might be beaten here. Look at Tommy Bow, he's very competitive.
Listen,
look
no
at
skills.
Now,
where's her medal now?
8, 7... Oh, Tommy, look at that. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Tommy.
Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Potatoes.
5 potatoes.
Hold on. Yeah, no, do you know what? But the thing is, as Alana said, they're not fully peeled. Hers is fully peeled.
She's only got one.
It's still fully peeled.
Most in 30 seconds.
Not the quantity.
But that's fully peeled, so we're 1-0.
Well, 1-0. Listen, as we were saying, it's an amazing opportunity for people to go along and do that. And the WorldSkills Ireland 2024 will be running at the RDS from the 25th to the 27th of September this month. So sure to pop down.
Their skills.
You might even see Tommy Bow juggling some potatoes. Listen, everybody, thanks so much for coming in this morning. We're going to take a quick break.
Very welcome back. Now, our next guests were busy living their lives and raising their 4 children when a devastating diagnosis stopped them in their tracks.
At the age of just 52, Wayne was diagnosed with early-onset dementia. We're joined now by Wayne Barron and his wife, Siobhan. Thank you both so much for being here. We really appreciate this. Can we go back to when you first met Siobhan? How long ago was that? Where was it?
So we both worked in Hibernian United Services Club. It was a private gentleman's club on Stephen's Green.
Did you, Siobhan?
So, through the swing doors.
Nice.
He always wanted a redhead. Naturally red hair.
Naturally,
right, okay.
Gotcha.
Well, not for the telly this morning.
This is my natural now.
Oh, you look fantastic.
Is that 31 years ago?
31 years ago, yeah.
31 years ago, 4 and 4 kids.
4 children later, yep.
Together.
So, listen, tell us when you started to notice and something was going wrong.
Wayne, he didn't tell me initially what was going on. He had auditory hallucinations. So
did you know though? Did you spot
No. Initially, well, I knew there was something going on, and he was a little bit out of sorts, reserved, withdrawn. I thought there was something else going on. I thought he was having an affair.
You,
no.
you thought your husband was
I
having
thought my
an
husband
affair.
was having an affair. It was like, you know.
And Wayne, what was happening?
I was hearing voices.
Hearing voices.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
constantly.
And
All day.
so like hallucinations.
Hallucinations, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were a chef in a restaurant at the time, busy, work.
That's
I'd
it,
imagine
yeah.
extremely busy, extremely loud in the kitchen.
Absolutely. But I thought the lads were talking to me, but
It
was all
wasn't.
in the head, you know.
So what, you turned round to them and asked them?
and asked them, and said, no, we didn't say anything.
What did you think initially?
I just got on with it, you know, and I just thought nothing of it, and I thought, oh, it'll pass, you know.
We often hear with diseases, regardless of what it is, people trying to pass and try to cover it up. Is that what you
That's
were
what I was
trying
doing,
to do?
yeah.
So then,
Until I stepped in and I went, okay, there's something going on, and he let me. He knew he had to tell me. So it was straight to the GP, and we were referred to the mental health clinic in Ballyfermot, and it started there.
if you're hearing voices, one would start thinking that it is a mental health
Absolutely.
issue. That
Oh, gosh, yeah.
That it could be something to do with schizophrenia.
Absolutely, that's what they were.
That's exactly what he was
they
tested
thought,
for.
you know. So they,
Yeah.
I saw the lady, I think twice, and then she medicated me. But no, the voices were still happening, you know.
So
Wow.
Yeah.
you had to go back, you're on medication, it wasn't working.
Wasn't working.
When did you get the diagnosis of...
Well, she referred for an EEG to just rule other things out.
Okay.
Because our daughter has epilepsy, so they thought maybe it was a form of epilepsy.
Okay.
And it was there we met Dr. O'Dowd. She had referred us to him, and long story short, we got in under him, and he had specialised in Lewy body dementia, which is the form of dementia that Wayne has. And he brought him in for tests.
So what does that mean? What does Lewy body dementia mean?
Lewy body, so it's a combination of dementia and, as you can see with Wayne, it's the walking stick, his form, there's a Parkinsonism with it. So the movement for Wayne started along with the hallucinations. So within 6 months, Wayne was practically on a stick, movement, shuffle. It had deteriorated so much. Yeah.
You're a busy chef. Your identity was a part of being in that kitchen.
Yeah.
When did you have to give up?
So I think what was it?
December 2019.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
That was worse than the diagnosis, really, you know.
Yeah, that's
to be honest,
destroyed him, literally. Yeah.
What age were you when you were diagnosed, Wayne?
So I was 53.
52.
52, so 52, but then you get the formal diagnosis.
Yeah. So you had been living with it and trying to cover and mask
for about
it.
a year and a bit. Yeah.
52 years old.
Yeah.
Like our
Most
baby
people
was
aren't-
15.
15. You've got 4 kids.
4 children. Yeah. Jenny, Shauna, Carla, Gal. Yeah.
What do you do when you're 52 years old, where most people aren't even ready? They're not. You're not even you know what I mean?
No, we still have mortgage. We still had 2 children in school. 2 they're now in college. You prioritise differently, and you just live your best life. We don't stress. We don't worry about things the way we would have.
Just get on with it, you know. And
the worst
to be
has
honest,
happened. It can't get any worse. Do you know? So that's the reality. So whatever else happens around us, you just sort it, you live it. You know, I'm losing my life partner. I didn't sign up for this. Wayne definitely didn't sign up for it. We were just a normal family living our best lives, you know, rearing 4 children. And this was landed on our doorstep. But, you know, there's no point in being miserable about it, you know, and there is, like, we're 6 years in. It hasn't stopped us. It changed, you know, changed everything. But you still have to live. I went back, I had to work part-time. someone has to pay the bills.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, no, it just changes.
How did you tell the kids?
So the children have always grown
very
up.
open, so
Honest.
you know, we're honest, you know.
Yeah, we've never, no lies, no secrets, you know, just tell all. And as I said, Carla had epilepsy. Cal was diagnosed with juvenile arthritis at 10. And, you know, we couldn't turn around after telling them, OK, it's just a diagnosis, you live your best life. And then for us to lie to them and say, oh, this is the end of the world. So, yeah, no, we just told them.
You just told them. And like that, you're kind of like, what's going on with you is we just do this and this is what we're going to do.
Yeah. If we had tried to hide it, they would have thought, you know...
Well, you thought he was having an affair, so there would have been...
It's fine, it's all good.
We have a vision of dementia. We all have a division, an image of dementia where we, as you said, you're losing your life partner, the love of your life before your eyes. But we're sitting here looking at you, Wayne, and you look great. You seem absolutely great.
That's the frustrating part, because so we had friends over for dinner on Saturday night, and Sunday, like Wayne, you write off Sunday, Monday, because he's just exhausted. Love doing things, love going places, but like we go out, but it would be for lunch maybe, or for breakfast, or we don't really go out at night because we know we'll pay for it 2-3 days later. He's just not functioning.
What do you mean pay for it? How?
Would the memory be gone?
The memory, the movement.
Okay.
He's exhausted, absolutely exhausted.
In terms of supports, because we know dementia is becoming more and more prevalent in this country, but early onset...
1 in 10 early onset.
So early onset's 1 in 10?
1 in 10.
Wow.
4,500 people living with early onset right now.
Thereabouts,
What supports are available?
So, well, for me, I go to Harold's Cross. There's an under-65 carer group. Shout out for Frances and Adrian. They are two amazing ladies. They run groups all over Dublin, but they have been my lifeline. It's all carers. We just go. We meet the last Tuesday of the month over in Harold's Cross, and you can cry, laugh, whatever. But we get it because we're living it. It's supposed to be our parents or our grandparents, but nobody can explain it, but they get it. But for Wayne, they're trying to set up something for under 65.
There's not really any.
There's nothing.
No.
There's
no.
So you're living with this, you've got your family and your friends, your support, but it does feel you're kind of alone.
On your target.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think in relation to this, because obviously carers are mentioned all the time by government, but not an awful lot seems to happen for people with in the budget?
Yeah.
Is it something that you would like the government to pay?
I think for under 65s, I know they are trying to set something up in Dublin at the moment, but I can't get Wayne to a hub wherever they're going to have that. But so we need to look at other avenues to actually get our loved ones to something that they're running. There is one in Cork and it's going brilliant. I think Waterford, but we need to get it up to Dublin. So hopefully soon there's something in the pipe.
Whenever you're hearing 1 in 10, the numbers are frightening, and even in dementia as well, the supports and everything that is needed out there at the minute. You are taking part in the Alzheimer's Memory Walk coming up now on Sunday.
We are indeed,
22nd of September. For people who want to get involved in it, it's memorywalk.ie. How important is this?
Oh, it's huge. Just to spread the word, get people out talking about it. Our daughter, Shauna, she's actually, herself and her boyfriend are doing it in Australia. They're in Sydney. They're watching at the moment.
Hi, Shauna. Say hi.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So she literally sent me a picture. She has you on.
She was like, I'm there.
I'm here.
Say hello to her down the camera there.
Hi, Shauna.
Shauna, your mum was sitting there going, I don't know how to sit on this couch. I don't know how to sit.
She's going to be the one on the phone saying, Mum, what were you doing?
You were fabulous. And a big shout out to Carla, Cal and Jenny over here and Shauna, who is in Australia. Wayne, thank you so much for coming in this morning and for doing this to actually.
Well, it's just awareness.
Awareness.
If it can help somebody who's going through this, that's great.
Yeah.
You know.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much, Wayne. We really appreciate it. And Siobhan,
thank you.
Thanks a million. We hope that group. You'll have a good old whale going, oh my God, those horrible Ireland AM people. You can give out about us at it.
Amazing people.
Thank you so much
they are amazing.
for coming in. We really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
And as
having
we
us.
mentioned, memorywalk.ie, and this is all for the Alzheimer's Society. We'd love to hear from you about that, or if you can get involved. We're going to be continuing the conversation around dementia very shortly. Deric is going to be seeing firsthand the support Ireland AM viewers gave to the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland, which we were just talking about.
Back after this quick break. Don't go anywhere. Right, we're going to be going back to Deric very shortly. We're just going to go through a few of the quick texts. Earlier on, we were discussing about this, the Gardaí. We were talking about the road deaths out there. The Gardaí are thinking outside the box and how they're trying to catch people driving dangerously on the road, and they're using an unmarked lorry with a car behind them that they're able to look down, see people using their mobile phones, seeing people without using their seatbelts. They caught somebody actually watching a football match on their phone, and the car then zooms up and pulls them in for it. I love this one from Mark.
Yeah, in England, they use HGVs to police other HGVs. They once caught a HGV driver cooking food on a gas hob while driving. So he had a little gas hob in the seat beside him.
But you would think if you're up in the lorry, no one would ever see you doing anything.
No.
Do you mean?
And like he's probably been on the road for 20 hours or something like that. He's like cooking a meal.
That's hilarious.
I mean, of all the things you could be doing inside the lorry, that's something else. Joe, L-plate drivers, unaccompanied use of mobile phone while driving, and excessive speeding are just 3 things I witnessed within a few hours yesterday. We need enforcement of the law and more Garda presence on the road. And we all know that the Traffic Corps has, the numbers have decreased, like everything else when it comes to the Gardaí, unfortunately.
Keep your messages coming in to us because we love to hear from you. Now, in the last 25 years of Ireland AM, over 34,000 businesses and 5,000 charitable causes have been shown some much well-deserved love by AM.
Yes, this morning as part of his birthday road trip, Deric has landed in the beautiful surroundings of Mallow in County Cork.
I could watch his big bobblehead on that screen going through Ireland all day. Deric, what's happening, my love?
It's a proper big bobblehead, isn't it, guys? Anyway, welcome down here to Mallow in North Cork. They are in flying form here this morning, of course, celebrating our 25th birthday week on the road. And following that beautiful interview, in fact, with Siobhan and Wayne Byrne back in studio in Dublin, we're now joined by Lena O'Sullivan. Lena is the nurse manager at St Mary's Daycare Centre here in Mallow. Sheila O'Flynn, her mum Lena, uses the services here in the centre itself. Also, Aisling Walsh from Bodie Blends, and finally Jim Walsh, former chairperson of Birdwatch Ireland. And Lena, we will start with you because the Ireland AM viewers got massively behind the Donate for Dementia campaign. I was involved in it myself at the time. We raised over €1 million back then. How has that impacted services in the daycare centre?
Deric, I can't thank you enough, and everyone who supported you, for supporting us in the Alzheimer's Society and helping us to facilitate a beautiful new centre in Mallow. We have a new daycare centre opened last October. It's a year there. I mean, originally the Alzheimer's Society has been providing daycare in Mallow for actually 25 years this year, same birthday as yourselves on Ireland AM. And we have a beautiful centre. It's big, bright, it's purpose-built, it's very dementia-friendly, very user-friendly. The clients absolutely love it. And the staff love it. It's a lovely place to work and to be.
What services are you offering down there now at the moment, Lena?
So we would have daycare in our centre. We would have daycare 5 days a week from Monday to Friday. People come in the morning, have a cup of tea. We'd have a lot of activities. All our activities are tailor-made to what people like individually, because different things are likeable to different people. So we would have a lot of cognitive stimulation. But to be honest, really, people want familiarity, they want engagement. Engagement is really good for dementia and cognitive stimulation. Inclusivity, just to include, make everyone feel included, have a friendly, happy, safe day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember back at the time when we did, Ireland AM ran the Donate for Dementia campaign, it created a lot of conversations and a lot of awareness around Alzheimer's, right?
Yeah. And I thought that at the time, I mean, the Donate for Dementia campaign was amazing for fundraising, obviously, but also for awareness, because we really need as much awareness as possible. You know, dementia is a very isolating disease. It's very difficult for families, and the more people that talk about it, the better.
Sheila, your mum, Lena, who's right behind us here, uses the daycare centre in Mallow. How the services benefited her?
Well, it's just a wonderful, happy, safe place for her to be, and she loves going. The stimulation is great, and you know, the building is beautiful, but the staff are just amazing as well. Lena and her team, Breed and Amanda and Sinead, they're just wonderful.
And we've lovely family photos there on air, and it is quite a family-friendly place down there, right?
It is, absolutely, and they do, like Breed plays the guitar and you have singing and music every day, which is great. You know, stimulation is very important for dementia, and music is so important, as we know. Very therapeutic for people.
Yeah, and it gives you a little bit of respite, I suppose, for the family as well, right?
It does, yeah. You know, I have peace of mind that Mum is looked after in a safe place, so I can either catch up on jobs or, you know, arrange social things for myself. So it's great.
Yeah, so it is good. And Mum, I was chatting to Mum earlier on, and she's in great form and she's flying.
She is, thank God.
And she's doing well, right?
She is.
Yeah, good to hear that. Aisling Walsh from Bodie Blends. Aisling, you appeared on the show back in 2019 as part of our Back in Business campaign.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first day you were on the show?
I do. I mean, it's the only other time I've ever been on the telly, so it's quite memorable.
Who are you on with?
With Karen.
Oh, yeah, Karen.
Yeah.
Okay, and tell us, talk us through your business first. Who are you and what are you about?
So, I have a business called Bodie Blends. It's a natural skincare and aromatherapy business. So I make all the products myself in a little lab in Dublin. And then I stock to retailers around the country and sell online.
What impact has Ireland had on your business?
Well, before I came to Ireland AM, I'd just been doing farmers markets and nothing more. I didn't have a website, I didn't have any kind of online presence, and I had no retailers. So in preparation for the Boost My Business slot, I put together a website.
Incredible.
Was now looking back. Anyway,
I know it's
so
strange,
sorry for
I suppose,
anyone
when you
who's
look
used
back
that
at
website.
Yeah. But now, in fact, you're selling all over the world.
Yeah, so and I stock to loads of retailers around the country. They're often like small independent eco shops that I'm really proud of.
Yeah, and you still link in, I suppose, with the local farmers markets as well. And
every now and again. Too big for that now, Deric.
You're too busy, which is great to see.
Yeah.
And all thanks to Ireland AM, which is amazing. Finally, Jim, you were Birdwatch Ireland. In fact, Jim, we had a seagull release 2 weeks ago live on air. It was an incredible moment. I mean, Ireland AM has played a big part in helping the restoration of wildlife.
Oh, absolutely. And Deric, we had, for example, the Barn Owl Appeal. I mean, there was a massive surge in donations after that, and inquiries about how to get involved. All sorts of groups, school groups, all sorts got involved in building nest boxes and things like that. And then we had, of course, the Garden Bird Survey.
Yes,
which has become hugely popular. And again, we had a massive surge in people wanting to sign up to do it. You know, it's been running since 1987, and it's just growing year on year. And of course, during COVID, it really came into its own because everybody was looking for.
And I've paid a couple of visits over the years to the Wildlife Nature Reserve in Wicklow. You've one here in Cork as well.
That's correct. Down in Harper's Island, we've one there, and it's been just fantastic because very hard to get to a huge audience with our message, and Ireland AM has been just a gift.
Isn't that great?
Honest,
Lovely to hear. Lovely to hear. Anyway, thank you to all our guests here this morning. Thank you to everyone here in Cork. Before we let you go, we have two special announcements. Sheila, because we love you so much and because we know all the hard work you do at home looking after Mom and all the family, we want to give you a one-day break for two to any of the Hudson Bay Group hotels for you and hopefully Mom. Isn't that great? A little breakaway, a little bit of a breather, which is lovely. And finally, I just found out we have a goodie bag for everyone in the audience. Woo! I've always wanted to say that for me and Mallow here in Cork, all the gang. Back to Dublin. For everyone.
Deric, bring some goodie bags up here. I'm dying to know what's in the goodie bags.
I will. I'll bring some back, guys.
Do indeed. Well done down there, Deric. Now, after the break, we're making some crunchy chocolate chip oatmeal cookies. Stay with us, they're delicious. Thanks for staying with us now. Who doesn't want a sweet treat to start off their morning the best way you can?
Well, today we have Chrissy Gibson in making us some chocolate oatmeal cookies. Good morning to you.
I have our glass of milk and everything with us.
Breakfast of champions.
Well, it is, because there's a lot of porridge oats in these.
You have raw porridge oats, and you know, chocolate. You've got your magnesium for the day.
Oh, come on, Chrissy.
Come on. I can justify
anything.
You've also got your sugar for the day. But listen, let's get going.
It's okay. So we're going to start with a half a pound of butter, and these are fabulous.
Yeah, they are very tasty.
So we're going to start with a half a pound of butter, which is about 225 grams. Make sure you use some good and soft butter. And I've gotten kind of a head start here because you want to use your castor sugar first with your butter.
Okay.
Use 110 grams. And the reason I got a head start here is because you want this to whip up nice and fluffy. And the castor sugar, or you can use granulated sugar, it will literally act as blades to whip up the butter and make that nice and fluffy.
Okay.
To that, we're going to add 210 grams of light muscovado sugar. You don't want to use dark muscovado. You want to use light muscovado.
So you've got castor sugar and then the muscovado sugar?
Yes.
Is it important to have both?
Yeah, actually, what a great question, Tommy.
Thank you.
Now,
That's what I do every morning.
It might keep you up at night if I don't tell you why I'm using more.
No, I don't think it'll keep Tommy up. Don't worry.
So we're using 210 grams of light muscovado, but only 110 grams of castor sugar. And the reason we're using more of the brown is because the light muscovado sugar will give you a chewy cookie. And I do have a thing for chewy.
We were talking about that. Like, you don't like the snap, you like more of a chewy one.
My preference is a chewy cookie.
Yeah.
So I'm more likely to underbake my cookies than overbake. You know. And if you use more light muscovado sugar than castor sugar, it'll give you a chewier cookie. If you do like a crunchier cookie, then you'll increase the ratio of the white sugar.
There you go.
Okay. Now, to our mixture here, we're going to add 2 eggs, which will make our dough nice and fluffy.
Yeah.
And we're going to also add a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. Now, ask any of the weekend crew, I have a thing for pure vanilla extract. You really do want to use a nice vanilla. Now, you'll know it's a nice vanilla if it's dark in color and thin. You see how that's really liquidy?
Yeah.
So you don't want a syrupy one. I know that
most people would think you need a syrup. And I would have thought vanilla extract would be much lighter than that.
No. If it's a pure vanilla extract, it's only got 2 ingredients: vanilla bean and alcohol.
Oh, good.
And I make my own, actually. You can steep vanilla beans in a cheap vodka, say, for 6 months.
Okay.
Set it aside, shake it every month. You'll be grand.
Vodka?
Sure.
Right.
Something cheap.
Cheap vodka.
And then that goes into your cake.
Yeah, you do want a good vanilla extract. If you're gonna splurge on any of your ingredients, splurge on a nice vanilla and a nice cocoa. Not all cocos are created equal.
So the oats, and what are the other things beside it? What are they going?
Chocolate chips.
We're going to add our dry ingredients to this. We've got 200 grams of self-raising flour. Okay. We have 5 grams of baking soda, bread soda, and we're just going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Okay. Now don't skip the salt, but we don't need a lot. This is not even going to weigh a gram.
Okay.
And
so you're adding all the dry ingredients together first of all.
We're going to sift these together so that we don't get a mouthful of cocoa
mixed
or
up,
a mouthful of bread soda, God forbid. Okay, so once these are blended, we will add our dry ingredients to our wet ingredients, okay? And you guys, if you want, give that a taste, and you must drink your milk with the cookies.
Oh, yes, well, we've got it here, absolutely.
So we're going to add these together. I'm going to start this on low so it doesn't go everywhere. I'm known for wearing my ingredients. Now, we're going to blend this up before we add our raw oats.
Now, could you just have that on its own and not have the oats? Would that make a cookie?
Yeah, I have a fabulous recipe for that. The ratios of ingredients are slightly different.
Okay.
But yeah, I wouldn't just make this while leaving out the oats. The oats sort of...
You need those.
Yeah. They sort of serve the same purpose as the flour. So
they're so gooey, these, aren't they?
They really are.
They're fudgy, aren't they?
They're fudgy. Yeah, it's more like a fudge, isn't it?
I love them. And I've given you one each of white chocolate chips and dark chocolate chips. You can make these with any kind of chip. They're fabulous no matter what you use. I will say this, just don't use buttons. Buy yourself some proper chocolate chips. If you use buttons, they tend
Chocolate buttons.
Yeah. It's tempting to just grab a bag of buttons and use those, but they're not meant for baking. They'll melt all over your tray, and the chocolate will burn on your tray.
Oh, okay.
I did mention I tend to get
special ones.
So the oats go in?
Then you put in your raw porridge oats, and the last thing you do is you add your chips. Bake these at 160 for about 8 minutes. And if you do like a crunchier cookie, just do it for 12 minutes.
Okay. Now, you've got a big bowl of dough, ball of dough there. So do you just break them up into little
the
chunks?
ones you have beside you, are they what they go into? Those little sort of, they're more stubby. So do they spread when they're cooking?
Yeah, so no, that's also a good question. These actually, the dough does not spread out a lot on the pan. What I did with that, I had made kind of a log and I sliced it.
Oh, okay.
But what you'll do is you'll just use a spoon, which I'll do in just a sec. You'll use a spoon and just, put a spoonful out on your tray and then bake them in the oven for your 8 minutes.
And how long? So, it's only 8 minutes in the oven?
Only 8 minutes, if you like a chewy cookie.
What sort of temperature now with the oven? Around 200?
160. And I tend to always bake at 160 unless it's something special.
I'm 200 for everything. Literally, it could be anything, 200.
And there they are there. We have the finished product there with the one with the white chocolate in it. So you just take them out into the oven, 8 minutes, and it's done.
That's done.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's your spoonful now.
Yeah, there's your spoonful like that.
Okay, and like I said, these don't change shape a lot in the oven, so don't expect them to spread out a lot.
How can people find you?
TakeTheCake.ie.
TakeTheCake.ie. Chris, thank you so much. They are absolutely delicious.
Gibson,
I'm glad you like them.
Chewy and lovely.
With your glass of milk. That's your perfect breakfast right there, isn't it?
Thank you so much.
Now let's get out to Muireann and see what's coming up in the final hour.
Something I agree on Tommy with. Just lash it in at 200. It'll be fine. It'll be grand. Now, coming up in the final hour of Ireland AM, we are joined by former President Uachtaráin na hÉireann, Mary McAleese. And what goes well with the former Uachtaráin? TikTok, of course. We're going to be delving into the world of TikTok trends with influencer Eric Roberts. And we're also going to add a splash of luxury to the catwalk with the Porsche mom aesthetic. If you don't know what it is, we'll explain it all. Back with you in just a few minutes.
Now, we were chatting earlier on about the police and an initiative that they're going to try and bring in where they're going to use HGVs to put cameras in, basically, to spot motorists.
Two guards driving, one driving and one spotter, and they're able to look down and see if people are on their phones.
Because they're up so high, so you'll see if there's no seatbelts on, if you're on your phone. It's a good initiative. It's worked in other countries, seemingly, and TJ said, some of the stories you've been sending us in have been amazing. I used to be a professional driver, driving up and down the M7 daily. I've seen it all, and you would have. But to see a woman driving at 120 kilometres per hour, eating her breakfast, really took the biscuit. Yes, she had the bowl.
Literally.
Took the biscuit. She had the bowl on her knee as she drove along, munching on her cereal. She has the bowl on her knee like that, the spoon, she's driving along.
I don't think I've definitely eaten a lot of food in the car.
But not your cereal.
Not your cereal. Well, we had a text in a few minutes ago about somebody using a gas hob cooking their dinner.
Oh, yeah. That was one thing.
A HGV driver as well.
Pascal says, I think penalty points do not work. They should implement a graduated fine system, €50 for the first offence, 100 for the second offence, and so on. 150 for the third. You hit them where it hurts. You would soon see the number of offences come down.
Orla said something similar enough. We were on holiday in Norway last year on a tour. The guide said there is no speeding in Norway because of the fines. For a first offence, the fine is €100. For the second offence, it's €1,000. And it's immediately taken away from your salary.
Yeah.
And listen, hit them where it hurts.
I tell
you get that
if
taken
you had
straight
that
away from your
taken for
salary.
€1,000 taken from your salary, you would not. You'd be very aware of when if you were speeding.
I think I've heard that in Germany as well. There's certain areas, particularly outside schools, whatever else, that if you are caught speeding in that, you literally lose your licence.
Yeah.
Really harsh penalties. Tell you it'd stop you.
And our next guest, she'd be the one to do it. From the introduction of the Euro to state visits, former President Mary McAleese reminisces about her presidency and beyond. That's coming up.
Yes, after this quick break.
Welcome back. Now, Ireland AM is celebrating its 25th birthday this week. That was a big 25 on the screen there. And throughout those 25 years, we have covered a huge range of topics, the biggest news stories that have made Irish and international headlines.
Yes, our next guest was the president through many of these events. But before we speak to Mary McAleese, let's take a look at some of the news stories now.
Well, as you can imagine, there is only one story and it will dominate our news for some considerable time. World in shock as Bush vows terror will not defeat freedom. Thousands fear dead in massive attacks in the US. The paper features a picture of the hijacked plane just before it crashed into the second tower. The euro has finally arrived. However, the punt remains legal tender until February 9th.
Roy Keane is all over the papers this morning.
What is going on?
Well, I think one of the stories in the paper this morning suggests that he's angered by the fact that the FAI officials are staying in superior accommodation to the team.
You wouldn't put it past Roy Keane to say that's it, good night, bye.
Put anything past Roy Keane.
I was doing a bit of research last night in the interest of the smoking ban, and I was in a public house. There was no gnashing of teeth, no tears, no nothing.
America is a place where all things are possible.
Democrat Barack Obama has won the 2008 US presidential election, setting him up to become the 44th president of the United States and the first African-American to hold the nation's highest office.
Queen Elizabeth II laid a wreath to honour those who died fighting her country for independence.
There are calls for the result of the marriage referendum to be enacted into law as soon as possible.
It's important to mark how far we've come. Some of my children and their generation take it for granted. It's kind of a no-brainer as far as they were concerned.
Yes.
They didn't grow up in the Ireland that we grew up in.
With a landslide victory to repeal the Eighth Amendment, a long and divisive debate about the availability of abortion has come to an end.
I need to speak to you about coronavirus and COVID-19.
There is a limit to the scientific knowledge, and there's going to be a lot of hardship arising out of this.
The restrictions have lifted, everybody!
Wowee.
I was surprised at some of those.
You were here for a lot of stuff, weren't you?
Good morning, Mary McAleese.
And happy birthday, Ireland Day.
Oh, you're very good.
25 years.
25 years, and you were president for 14 years in this country throughout so many of those events. Come on, what a huge privilege.
Oh, it was, yeah, of course.
Some of those things that were there, like the first thing that you saw there was you were in your office in Orson Uachtaráin for 9/11.
That piece of film that showed the plane, the second plane.
Yeah.
Going into the second tower. I was standing in my office with a number of the staff. We had just been told about the first one, and everybody gathered around the television, and we watched as the second plane ploughed into the second tower. It was just, it was not, surreal isn't the right word for it. It was just awful. It was to watch evil being visited on people, and you just knew in that moment there will be Irish people in there, there'll be American, there'll be people from all over the world there. Yeah. When you think of all the people who are not going to be going home from work today, it was just awful.
As President of Ireland, when you're thinking of what to say after something like that, what goes through your mind?
Well, first thing you want to go out and face the camera with both the kind of compassion and the strength to be able to say to the American people, we stand with you, our hearts are broken for you. And so it's the people whose whose lives have just been shattered, that you really
Many
have
Irish people in New
and
York
a lot of Irish
as
people,
well.
also Irish people in America, but Irish people at home and around the world who are saying, you know, my son worked in that building, my daughter worked in that building, my son was a firefighter, whatever. You know, they're wondering and worrying. And so you had to have them in mind. Also, not very long before, we had a new ambassador. Ambassador Egan had arrived from the United States, and he, of course, would be the next door neighbour in the Phoenix Park, and you had to think about them immediately and phone them and say, look, we're here for you. And yes, and of course, you're representing the Irish people. You can't just go out and, you know, emote, and you have to also hold it together, but also to do it in a way that shows that your heart is breaking for these people, because it was a heartbreaking episode. It changed history. It didn't just change all those lives, but it did change history when you think then of the, you know, what happened subsequently with the war on terror.
And still to this day, we've got our president, Michael D. Higgins, who has to think about that when he's talking about Gaza and Ukraine. And unfortunately, it's a cycle that perpetuates itself. But there were some amazing things from when you were in the Áras as well. And as someone who's known as who was raised a devout Catholic, and you studied within theology for an awful lot of time, you were very strong during the marriage referendum and LGBT.
Oh, had to be. I mean, the Church's
issues.
teaching is outrageous in relation to LGBTIQ people. It's awful. The language that is used, the teaching is, it's not just that it's unscientific, in my view it's just unchristian, has never been properly revisited and reformed. Awful stuff. Causes, as you know, I mean, terrible anxiety to people. You think of the lives that are lived, good people's lives that were lived in a shadow, a dark shadow hanging over them. So no, it was the right thing to do. I'd been involved in campaigning for gay rights from the 1970s. When I first came to Trinity in 1975, one of the first friends I made was David Norris. And along with David, you know, was a co-founder, along with him and a number of others, of what was then the campaign for homosexual law reform, because the law at that time criminalised homosexual acts. So when I think of the big long journey there was to getting that law reversed, we went all the way to the Supreme Court, lost in the Supreme Court in a judgment that to read it now would make you very embarrassed. Had to go to the European Court of Human Rights, which found in favour, and then back. And thank goodness there were people like Mary Robinson at that time who were willing to take those cases on pro bono. No expectation of ever being paid. Thank God, I hope she did eventually get paid because they won the case, but taking it on with no expectation of being paid because it was principle and passion. And and then of course when it came back to the Dáil to be dealt with, we were very fortunate. There was a good woman, Maura Gagan Quinn was the Minister for Justice, and she just did the business.
Went to it, yeah.
And I think also, in fairness, it was a journey of change for people's minds. There was a lot going on in Irish discourse and intergenerational debate, and that allowed, by the time we got to same-sex marriage, you know, people had changed their minds about a lot of things, including the grip, if you like, of the church on minds. There was a time here when issues like that, if they were raised, the first voice you would have heard would have been a bishop or a cardinal telling you how to vote, what to think. Those days were gone by then. And now we were hearing the voices of people who had a lived experience as gay people, or as young women who had had abortions in terrible circumstances. So we were listening to narratives that were rooted in real life, you know?
I mean, over your period as president, it was phenomenal. There's so many, and we just saw some of the clips there. We saw Queen Elizabeth visit to Ireland. We saw Barack Obama drinking
all in the 1 week
pint of Guinness. Yeah, I know, that was a hell of a week.
You must have been wrecked
we
that week.
We were run ragged, but it was brilliant. It was a phenomenal week because Her Majesty the Queen came and spent 4 days here on a state visit.
And spoke Irish,
and she was brilliant.
Was a massive
she did, to great acclaim.
Huge.
You know, I mean, it was only 5 words of Irish, but honestly, it softened hearts all over the place.
Yeah.
Because she took a chance on that. The advice all the way through, I had suggested...
I gather you didn't advise her to do it.
I suggested that it would be done. Anyway, I suggested and was told, no, look, it's too difficult. If she got it wrong, could you imagine? She's only going to make the one speech. And I understood that. So we closed it down and said, OK, we'll not raise the issue again. But she was on the ball. And a great friend of mine called Francis Campbell, former ambassador, British ambassador to the Holy See, he was then working in Islamabad as a High Commissioner, and he rang me one day and said, look, I'm coming through Ireland can I have lunch with you? And he said, you see those 5 words that you mentioned to the Queen's assistant, or deputy private secretary, Sir Edward Young? You wouldn't write those out in an envelope for me. And I said to him, I won't, because I'd be afraid you'd go and tell her. And I said, the subject's closed. I don't want her to think that I'm too pushy about this. He said, it's not for her, it's for Edward. He was sorry he didn't ask you what they were. So I wrote them out. And the next time I heard them was when she uttered them perfectly in Ulster Irish, may I say, in Dublin Castle. And I realised this woman, you know, she's worthy of her. She's worthy of her reputation.
Something else.
How do you think society has changed in the last 25 years?
I do not think it's changed dramatically. Dramatically. But that said, I mean, we've become a much wealthier country, very confident country. Everybody and his holy mother now has been to college or has a degree or has a profession or a craft or a skill or a trade.
So
very few people unemployed. So it's... we still have a lot of work to do because our very success has brought its problems. Look at the problem with housing that we haven't been able to keep up with. We attract an awful lot more migrants to our shores. They are people highly skilled, highly motivated. They're going to make a big difference and are making a big difference to our country. When you think of the wonderful integrated mix that the future of Ireland has, the many wells that it'll draw from, you know, the kids who'll be poets writing poetry that draws from Donegal or someplace in Lithuania or someplace in Bulgaria, or, you know, it's a wonderful thing. I think we're a very privileged generation not to have to emigrate, to be able to stay if we want, to be able to go with skills and confidence if we want. So I honestly, I think we're talking outside to our pal from TikTok, and he was just, we're a very chilled country by comparison with others. And we have work to do.
That's Eric Roberts, who's travelled the world. He's all over the place.
One of the best events, Tommy, and whenever I was in office, people ask me often what was the best time. And yes, obviously the Queen's visit was a big, big effort because of the reconciliation that it brought about. But for me, it was the Special Olympics, World Summer Games in 2003, because that was when the Celtic Tiger was at its, you know, I feel like not best is hardly the word, but you know, it was rampant. And we were often accused of getting, you know, greedy and losing the run of ourselves. And yes, it is true, some people did, but what we showcased then was the sheer goodness in people. You know, we had to mobilise an army of 40,000 volunteers.
Amazing.
We had to find 60 million from the public to try and fund all this, and every corner and nook and cranny had to host people from all over the world, and they did, with great embrace and love and kindness. So
it was a true, that's Ireland. It was a true spirit, and honestly,
it was.
Like you took office, I think 2 years before Ireland AM first ever went on air.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's been, and you were on the board of like Channel 4 at one
before
stage,
that, which is why I was so happy to see TV3 happen. I just knew that this was a game changer for Ireland and for Irish television.
And it's been a pleasure to kind of be here and to recognise things just from a different sort of angle than to the national broadcaster that we once had. But you yourself, you've gone into broadcasting. You're going on about our TikToker outside. When am I going to see yourself and Mary Kennedy on the old TikTok? Because you're a podcaster now.
We're podcasters, Mary
TikTok
and
is just behind.
In our advanced age.
Amazing.
Yeah. We
Are you
joke about
this?
We're having the time of our lives. We're just having a wonderful time. We finished a first series, which went very well, got great support, and made it to #1 and whatever in the podcast thing.
Sure, no,
Changing Times, the Allenwood Conversations.
Allenwood Conversations, and we're looking at people's lives. It's a conversation. Mary, myself, and one other human being, and we're just chatting, having a cup of tea and a Tunnocks tea cake, and chatting, and it's amazing what you draw out from people when they don't feel under pressure. We're not out with scalpels. We're just out to listen to the story that they want to tell. And so we've had some phenomenal guests. And now we're starting a second series now in October. Another big roundup of wonderful guests. I have to say, one of my favourite people in the entire planet, because I'm waking up to her every morning, is Sharon Shannon. Sharon
great.
Shannon and Steve Earle, Galway girl, gets me out of bed every morning and then straight into dancing around the kitchen
to Ireland AM.
To the Blackbird.
To Ireland AM.
Yeah, exactly.
Then she puts on Ireland AM, obviously.
And then I put on Ireland AM, exactly.
But it's so good that it's called Changing Times, by the way, the Allenwood Conversations. They're so interesting. I could listen to you absolutely all day because you've been involved in so many things.
Yeah.
former Uachtaráin na Hair and our President of Ireland, Mary McAleese. It's a pleasure to have you in.
Oh, sure, it's great to meet you.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Listen, enjoy the next 25.
Oh, I will.
Oh,
Look
yeah,
forward to it,
we'll
exactly.
still be here.
We'll sit
try
ourselves in our seats, all right. Thank
go.
you.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, the latest fashion trend to sweep the internet involves chic trench coats, classy handbags, and a rich person's attitude.
He's
Myrna
got it all.
O'Connell, there you go.
Here to show us how we can embody the Porsche mom aesthetic without the car to match. It is stylist Justine King. Good morning, my love.
Good morning.
The obvious question: what is in God's name is the Porsche
And
mom aesthetic?
you don't have to have a Porsche.
No, this is a TikTok trend, and it's dressing like the kind of mom who drives a Porsche. So it's different too. They have the Range Rover mom aesthetic, which is leggings and puffer jackets. The Porsche mom is more luxurious day wear. It's dressed up day wear. We're getting the look for less as well here. It's not designer clothes.
So unbelievably relatable.
That's it there, yeah. I mean, if you're getting it cheap, or not cheap.
It's just getting the look. You need to look like you drive a Porsche. You don't have to have the budget.
Why do you need to look like you drive a Porsche?
If you want to match
If you want to match it, okay.
Well, do you know what? These are beautifully tailored clothes.
Exactly.
They're fantastic.
It's just how to do elevated day wear.
Gorgeous. So let's take a look at our first look today, and it is Yumiko.
Yes, so Yumiko, and this one is a nice, comfortable, casual look, but it is that little bit more elevated. It looks styled. She hasn't just thrown on her clothes. So the whole outfit is from On Trend. So you'll get that online Irish brand. We'll start with the coat. So we're kind of getting into coat weather, well, after this week.
Yes.
And this is a nice light one. It is fully lined. It's collarless as well, so it's easy to kind of wear with your polo necks and stuff. It's quite a nice one.
Very chic.
Yeah, it is very chic, isn't it? And it is a good price point as well.
Yeah.
So we've gone very tonal, and tonal is very 2024.
Yes.
Of matching the colours. So we've gone for the little kind of lightweight polo neck underneath here. It's that kind of silvery grey. It's quite like
that
the
looks like really lovely and soft.
Yeah, and it just kind of is a body kind of clings to your skin, and that comes in beige and in black as well. And then this is how to wear your silver trousers.
Yes.
You might have bought a pair last year. It's hard to know how to wear them. Autumn winter is your season. So these are gorgeous. They're a nice relaxed kind of shape. They have that kind of pleating at the top as well.
Love them casually.
Aren't
So
they gorgeous?
good.
Yeah, because we're kind of used to seeing them with heels. So I think tonal is the way to do it. And then the shoes, we're bringing in that grey as well. So these are from Murphy Shoes. They've got that kind of golden goose look without the golden goose price tag. They are real leather and real suede. And then they have, bringing in those kind of tones on the little star detail on the side
and
too.
Slouchy bag, so it's all very
Relaxed, really, this
yeah.
look. Yeah, so that again is genuine leather bag, that kind of satchel style, and it has a detachable crossbody. And sorry, we're onto the sunglasses. Very Prada-esque, these sunglasses, and they are the UVA and UVB protection, and they're kind of key to the Porsche mom look. And then we've got that beautiful bracelet here, sorry, the bag,
Bag, we mentioned that.
And so the bracelet then is a gorgeous charm bracelet, and it's 2 different types of links on that too.
Gorgeous, Yumi. I really am into that. I'm looking forward to seeing. You
have a pair of those trousers,
I
don't
do,
you? Yeah.
and I love them casually.
Well, now, exactly. Tone it up with your greys.
Oh, Sophie.
So Sophie is our kind of working mama. She looks like she's off to some fabulous law
Now, in
firm
fairness,
or something.
that's a gorgeous coat.
It's stunning, isn't it? So again, that is from On Trend, and this comes in a khaki, a camel, and a deep brown as well. That kind of pleated. It looks like a trench coat, but it's more that kind of heavier wool effect in the coat.
They're doing them in Sandro and Maj and Cos.
Yeah, so this is a little bit more of an affordable price point.
I love the way you've just tied it without buttoning it.
Yeah, to just show off, and you're showing
it?
off the outfit underneath that as well.
And it's a jumpsuit that's going on underneath.
Jumpsuit, so this is absolutely stunning. This in the office or out of the office for occasion wear too, right? It's really elegant. Again, it is a good price point. I think layering this up, even with the little body we saw on Yumiko already, for the winter, you can cover up the arms and cover up the chest, especially if you are wearing it as workwear.
That's gorgeous as well.
Yeah, and you're kind of just fully styled in that gorgeous tailored look, aren't you? And that taupey colour is really expensive looking.
It is, because you could go flats with this as well. You've gone heels,
absolutely.
but definitely could do flats.
Absolutely, you could do ballerina flats, say, that are very big for this season, but I've gone for these heeled boots. I think these are just the perfect boot. They are nude, little ankle boot. They've got that abstract heel as well. I think those even poking out under a pair of jeans with a dress, they're just absolutely stunning.
And some nice simple jewellery then.
Yeah, so the jewellery, so Murphy's Shoes have just introduced jewellery to their collection. So we've got the chunky little gold plated earrings here, and then we've gone for this beautiful, really elegant fine necklace, and it's just got the 3 beautiful bars as well.
Gorgeous.
And I love the little bag with it.
Yeah, the bag's a nice casual daytime bag. That's your crossbody. I love the contrasting straps straps. So it is the genuine leather in the quilting, and then it's got that kind of canvas strap as well, bringing in the black.
That's all a lovely
Sophie,
look there,
thank you
Sophie.
so
yeah.
much. Looks so good in
She's
her.
off to drive her Porsche.
Yeah, she will. Now, in fairness, you could see her getting out of a Porsche.
She's early in so hard.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, wearing the leopard
Sarah.
print.
Yes, another stunning look. This one is from Chic Boutique, who are in Skerries. And we'll start off with this beautiful jacket. So there's a nice cropped bomber jacket, super lightweight. It's that suede-ette effect, and this comes in baby pink and in khaki. Isn't that gorgeous? Just layer that with your jeans, with a t-shirt. It's a really simple kind of layering piece.
And it's a dress.
That's a full dress.
Oh,
so this is all
it's a
one
dress.
Piece. The belt is sold separately,
okay.
but it's all one piece and that ballerina style. I think for anyone going into the office, you want to add a pop of colour with that, right? You wouldn't need to really be ironing and steaming this regularly. You've got it fully dressed, but you look like you've made a bit of an effort and put it together. And it's super flattering as well, especially if you are bigger busted.
Yeah.
The block colour on top and the print on bottom
So
is a great option.
obviously you could change the belt up and have it a few different
yeah.
ways.
We just added that lovely woven belt, but you could add, you know, a leopard or a black belt, a leather belt, whatever you want to that look.
Now these boots, are they suede?
They're suede.
Oh, they're
Aren't they
Oh,
stunning?
surprise.
Beautiful knee high. Again, they have that abstract heel we're seeing a lot, and they're not too high. So they're your kind of, I mean, you're not going to wear them running around all day, but they are your day boot. They're not
good
a
under
super
baggy
high.
jeans as well.
Yeah,
So say
exactly.
if you have them on and they're keeping you warm.
Have your little sock boot poking out. So
Lovely.
they are a great buy. So then these earrings, we've gone for the multi-hoop earring here. So it looks like she has multiple studs or multiple piercings, but it just has the one studded back.
Oh,
and then
okay.
our beautiful necklace, it's kind of a take on that Van Cleef, very expensive necklace with the clover. It's got that beautiful black glass clover and then just the little gold bar.
It's an unusual bag.
What do you mean?
Isn't that stunning?
Oh my God, it's amazing.
No, I think it's lovely. Yeah,
absolutely stunning. So we saw this kind of look. It's the crossway weave from Bottega. This one's a little bit less expensive, but it is real leather as well. So it's a really good classic bag. It's going to last you all day.
Absolutely beautiful.
Isn't it stunning?
Yeah, I love it.
That's a
look
real
at
talking
Miko
piece.
here. This is definitely Porsche.
This is Porsche Mom. This is our kind of
Mom.
super glam Porsche Mom. Again, this whole look is from Chic Boutique. This amazing jacket, it looks like real fur, it's not, but it is a really good faux fur. It's got that beautiful contrast between the leatherette kind of lapels and buttons and pockets.
Yeah.
And then it has your beautiful kind of pale pink
And the thing with those jackets, they've been around for about 2 or 3 years now with the wool, the big woolly ones or whatever. They can be casual or they can be really
Exactly.
dressed up.
We've done it quite a dressy day wear,
Yes.
but you could just pop that on with your
Lovely.
jeans and whatever. This dress is stunning. That's just a really flattering cut on that dress. Comes in black as well. It has that little tie detail across the tummy. So if you are tummy conscious at all, it's going to just kind of cover that beautifully.
Nice.
You could wear this with your runners during the day as well. We've really elevated it with these shoes, and these are from the premium collection at Nero Giardini. So they're a beautiful Italian leather, and they're just that kind of knee-high
They
length.
look it though, don't
Aren't they?
Yeah.
They're stunning. Yeah, and they even have that little bit of room to tuck in your jeans if you wanted to with those as well.
Yeah, lovely. And then we've got some lovely jewellery.
Yeah, so those gorgeous kind of chunky half curl hoops we're seeing a lot of. They just kind of have that pop, your eye is drawn to the ear. And then we've got that beautiful necklace here. So it's 2 little fine chains and then just that little ball in the middle.
Those earrings are lovely. They're like the bag that Sarah had on, that kind of chunky.
And they're Bottega. That's the kind of take both that designer brand is doing. It's
Beautiful.
definitely got that look. And then we have a beautiful leather bag here. This is a clutch bag. You can add or remove the strap as well. And it's that beautiful hand finished in Italy.
That's lovely. And I'd say if you had that in black, you'd get so much wear out of it as well.
Even with your chunky ankle boots or whatever.
Porsche mom.
Yeah.
How do you
Porsche
feel?
mom.
Do you think you could be a Porsche mom?
I could be a Porsche dad, couldn't I?
Zaddy.
Zaddy.
That's what you are, a zaddy.
Justine,
King, thank you so much.
After the break, Gen Z
Zaddy.
takes over the auto cue. Don't go anywhere.
Very, very welcome back. The next segment is going to slap, no cap, and our next guest hits different.
I swear to God, I don't know what I'm doing all morning on this show regarding this. That's right, we have our TikTok expert, Eric Roberts, here to explain the latest internet trends with Gen Z.
That's
Good
right.
morning to you, Eric. And we were doing this morning. Miriam was explaining to me. I was like a child, and she was going, no, that's not the way you say it.
It's the Gen Z script trend. Tell us about it.
What is that?
Basically, if this sounds foreign to anyone, it means you're old. Okay?
Thanks,
It means
okay, I'm off.
You're over the hill, guys, if you don't know what W's in the chat means. Slay.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's a trend now that has skyrocketed on TikTok, where basically businesses are trying to get to a younger consumer, and the way they're doing that is showcasing their middle-aged parents or elderly people that work in their business to use Gen Z slang and show them around around. This was a B&B, an 800-year-old B&B, and she showed us around.
So
using
Slay.
phrases like Slay and Queen, and it's giving modern, it's giving antique, and it's just a really fun way for brands and businesses to attract a younger consumer.
Well, this is the way Gen Z speak, but it is interesting to see that some businesses are taking on board and exactly using it. We did our own Ireland AM 25-year anniversary one, and Gen Z over here, let's see how he got on.
Oh, God.
Hey besties, we're turning 25 this week and we're excited AF.
Alan's been here for 25 years. He is giving main character energy.
Slay. POV, we're in our birthday era. Peep our newspapers, it's given educated. Slay. It's 7 in the morning, so we need to be lit AF on caffeine.
Oat cookies? More like goat cookies.
All the cookies are gone very sus.
Bye besties.
Well, if that hasn't got Gen Z written all over it. Here, you're quite the Gen Z.
I had no idea what I was doing.
That was extremely difficult to watch. From a young person like myself, that was a hard watch, guys.
Okay. So what were we doing wrong?
Just the whole thing was just difficult start to end. It's worked up quite an appetite for me.
Okay.
He's quite the baby boomer.
Because we're doing the cucumber salad trend.
Cucumber salad. So this comes from a Canadian creator with over 6 million followers, and people call him the cucumber king. Now, the cucumber is a very versatile food, like our own spud.
It is. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We have chips, we have crisps, we have roast potatoes, boiled potatoes. The cucumber is no different. He's been made famous for his New York-style salmon bagels.
Okay.
He does some Asian stir fries. We'll sample our own now.
Why not give it a go, shall we?
Yeah,
Look at all the stuff.
knives or anything?
We just start dolloping
so
stuff. Just
some
create a
onions
masterpiece. It's like art.
But we've
I've got some
they're
Blue Dragon's
okay.
Destinies.
They're already done.
Oh, God,
so you
that's
basically
lovely.
just put everything in and throw it together.
It's
is that
dealer's choice, do you know what I mean? But he's had so much success with this now that a cafe, La La Land Cafe, has actually started selling some of his creations.
No way.
And you can buy some of these for $15. But of course, you can make your own. Jesus, we're wrecking the studio here. You put it in your tub then and you give it a good shake.
Right.
And it's just a little healthy option. Now, you give it a good shake now. Yeah, that's the one there. I've got cucumbers flying everywhere here in the studio. This is live TV, everybody.
Look at this, right?
Isn't that lovely?
It actually doesn't look too bad, does it?
There now. Have a long drive ahead of me, Steve.
I'm still trying to get
Delicious. No, Alan, you can't overdo it. Okay.
I haven't even started. Give me a second.
Oh my goodness, something really hot. Oh, chili oil.
That's a super flaming hot chili oil that you added to yours there. But again, a very simplistic trend that we can turn food into.
Like, I'm not going to eat that. So this is what he did. So there's millions of people. Like, have people just too much time on their hands?
People, yeah, essentially people have just lost their mind.
Seriously.
You know what I mean? Everything is content, so throwing a few cucumbers in along with some...
And people are going, this is great to watch.
People are going crazy for it. Wow. I might start my own and see how versatile the spud is.
There you have. Oh yes, the spud would be a great idea.
King of the Spud.
King of the Spuds.
Now, one of them that I actually have seen, I think is very funny, is after Trump's speech, after his debate, when he was talking about they're eating cats and dogs. They're eating pets.
He's eating
pets.
Yeah, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
What's this one?
I've seen some of this.
Donald
Are fabulous.
Trump has been a meme many, many times, but in the presidential debate with Kamala Harris, he mentioned that some of the immigrants were allegedly eating pets, cats and dogs. And of course, the internet went absolutely crazy for this. They started generating AI images of Donald Trump standing with cats and dogs. And more recently, it became a trend where people would play the sound of him saying they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs for animals, and we would get their shocked reaction as if they're about to be eaten. There's also a creator, Kifness from Cape Town, and he's actually made a song, and some of the proceeds are going to stray animals, stray cats and stray dogs in Ohio Springfield. So it's a really full circle moment for them.
Look at this, there's a dog where they're eating. But I've even seen somewhere they're opening a pot and the dog comes out of the pot and the cat comes out of the pan.
Again, people are getting nicely creative on it, but Donald Trump's, he's a walking meme. So
he
he's
sure
never far
is
away
a
from
walking meme.
It's so funny,
So
but
you
it's
reckon,
just crazy.
have you done the Gen Z scripture? Have you done the cucumber one? Have you tried any of these since you're
Well, I am Gen Z.
TikToker?
I am Gen Z.
Exactly,
I talk like that all the time. Slay W's in the chat queen. Do you know what I mean? So that's no different for me. I don't look at a place doing these
the what,
things.
Queen?
I have no time to explain it.
Here she is, the
that
one who
was
knows.
interesting AF, guys.
Well done.
Slay. Did we slay?
Coming
Did
up.
we slay?
Thank you, Eric Roberts.
Thank you,
coming
Eric.
up on tomorrow's show, we are going to be meeting sports stars Davy Fitz and Mike Ross. Deric will be at the ploughing. Stylist Courtney Smith will be judging the fashion trends that have graced Ireland Dames catwalks over 25 years. And Aina Lee Launa, she might hug some trees.
Aina Lee
She'll be given
Launa
out to us
will
anyway.
be slay.
She will
if
be.
anybody can slay, it's Aina. We'll see you tomorrow from 7. Have a great day.
Peace out, besties. See you, Eric. Thank you.